Awesome. Hey everybody, this is Rustyn with Metalholic Magazine and The Examiner, and with us the boys from Florida, Adam Smash. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man.
It's good to finally meet you. There's been a couple changes since the last time you and I talked, Serge. So why don't you introduce everybody in the band, let us know who all's who now.
Okay, well, Cowboy. That's Crazy Dave.
Hey.
And Tacos, yeah, he's the same daddy taco.
So vocals, guitar, bass, and drums in a line.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised when I got the new album, Beautiful Alien, that Z's not with the band anymore. Last time I saw you guys, you were a five-piece, and now Z's back over in Europe,
Austria.
I guess, Austria, working with Blue Jay. What happened there?
I think he was just ready for home. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah, he was here
out
for
of his
good.
element for a long time, and
It's good here for a good like 4 years, and I think it was just like, it was that time for a change, and I think you know, being released from Drive and all that stuff was, it just didn't. I guess he didn't really per se see himself, you know, being in the band, you know, beyond that, you know. I think our newer material was. Well, I don't actually know because we wrote a lot more after he left.
Right.
But there was some material that we had, and I think he wasn't totally feeling it. He really likes blues,
Right.
and all that stuff. So I think, you know, it makes sense. He's in a great spot. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. He had a very bluesy sort of groove to his guitar playing and everything. So how has, you know, writing the new record, Beautiful Alien, how's that played out in terms of the songwriting and how everything's come together for the new record in terms of the music?
I think it's very natural. I think if
It's a bit more of a joint effort this time.
yeah, I think if Z would have played on some of this stuff, I think there's probably songs he would have done a great job doing some leads and stuff on. I think there's gonna be songs that he would just seem like a fish out of water with it. So I think that it's more of an alternative record. So I think that, you know, by definition it was easier because it's an alternative record.
Kind of do what you want now. Right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, it seems like the flow from Sacrifice and stuff, the early EPs, and then the last album and now the new one, there's been quite a significant transition in the sound a little bit. I mean, you still retain that Adam Smash vibe, but has it been intentional that you've gone that direction, or is that just sort of where your muse is taking you, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you're writing an album, you have the choice of, okay, I'm going to make this entire thing as, you know, yeah, you have the choice. So everything's going to be intentional. I think song-to-song basis, we might not intentionally write a certain kind of song, but I think that we actually sound a little more like the new record has more of the feel of our original EP or some of the original tracks from like before we were on Sony Jive or whatever. So yeah, it's just alternative grunge, but I think on this album we really just kind of we wanted it to. I don't really think we had it.
It was like
we didn't really have.
It was no holds barred.
Yeah, I don't think I would be like everybody's like it has so much variety. I don't even know that we even would have intended on that.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
just opened the floodgates and let it off the mountain, man. That was pretty.
Yeah, I don't
legit.
think we were intentionally trying to make the album cohesive. It was just song by
There's
song.
some elements maybe within the guitars that might have some similarities, like song to song. I think
Totally.
I guess a good answer to that question is when we wrote Square One, which was one of the original songs from this album. Was written. Once we wrote that song, I think we really felt like oh, okay, this is a little more definitive. This is a little more definitive. It's kind of like you know, it has the elements of the grunge, but it also has this you know, almost like this slightly beachy quality in some parts, and so I don't know. It was like that song where like, oh, that song is like Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, and Foo Fighters put together or something. So I was just like, cool, that's a good blend. So I think we did write some stuff with that as kind of template, and Beautiful Alien.
So, no pun intended, but Square One sort of set the foundation for where you began.
Absolutely. No, it means just that, you know.
Now, you guys are out on tour with Bubba Flex and Edison. hitting some of the unusual spots. You're in Boise tonight. You were in Wisconsin, not Wisconsin, Wyoming last night. What was that like?
It was great.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
The whole tour as a whole has been really good, actually.
And even that one was technically one of those shows where it was like, not really sure what's going to happen with this
Yeah,
one.
we weren't sure it was a big place last night. We're like,
It ended up being really neat.
that was great when we took the overnight to get here. so.
Our expectations were low and they were exceeded by far.
Well, I was just complaining that we don't get enough shows here in Boise because we're just sort of the miss spot. Everybody loops around through Denver and Salt Lake and Portland and Seattle and such. But when you get to some of these places, especially like Wyoming, who gets less shows than we do, I got to imagine it's just a madhouse because they get so limited time with bands like you guys. So
They seemed very grateful.
Yes, they did. They
A lot of people
kept
kept
saying,
thanks for coming here.
Thanks
Like,
for coming here. Like,
hey man, you know,
thanks for having
you
us.
guys
Like,
were
this is
you guys were the
awesome.
people
They're-
on this night that actually would have us. So
They were like really surprised they would actually play. They were like, but why? Oming.
now, every song on every album has a story. Some of them are obviously more interesting than others. Are there a couple of songs on this album that got some interesting stories you'd share with us?
Well, Hold My Head was recorded. It was recorded the very hour it was written.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what you hear on the album is what
It was all
It's
recorded
literally,
live.
yeah, it's
It's
a
recorded
pilot
live.
for what we got after.
I would live. I said we went and did some background vocals and stuff, but like
All the instrumentation was all live.
Yeah.
And we did it, what, 2 times? 2
I think, yeah,
takes,
we did
3?
and it was
Takes
within
all the way to
an hour, or at most 3 hours from writing the song.
Very raw and organic.
And Z is on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Z is actually on.
He's playing leads. That was like that was a song that we were demoing right before before things kind of fell through with Jive.
Right.
We were trying to write a harder active. You know, it's really funny with these major labels. You put together this huge record, or as far as like the amount of money that goes behind it, and then like we go to our second single and they're like, oh, we don't know which one it is. You know, it's like, well, you didn't think about that when you know. I don't understand. So we're like, okay, so let's write some songs, and they're like, well, we want something, you know, with the guttural but kind of alternative and stuff. So it's a weird track because it does have like elements of funk within this.
It's got a
Heavy-
It's got a Prince vibe.
It's weird. It kind of does have a Prince vibe. I mean, in its own respect. When I sing it live every now and then, I'm like, wow, this really does have like a.
Well, it's kind of interesting too. When you say that, it's your last album sold very well for basically what was your debut album and everything on a small label, and they cut you loose, even though there's other bands out there with like 3 or 4 record deals that can't sell 2,000 or 3,000 copies. What the hell
Yeah.
happened there?
Well, I think it was like.
If I called Jive small, they were pretty big.
Yeah, it was. That's what
Justin
makes it even
Timberlake
weirder. Yeah,
and
that's the
Britney
problem. Is
Spears
that they were who they have and who they had, because Jive is now RCA. So I think that would explain what happened.
mother
Yeah, that was a lot of it. They were just dispersing everything.
I want
right
to say
there.
when they had some trouble getting it past the top 20 or something, like when they just kind of bailed out, knowing that like we're no longer gonna have an A&R guy. We didn't know that though. We didn't know he was gonna be leaving for Warner Brothers. So it was like there's a lot of things. I think that the answer to that is that the rock acts that label had were accumulated from Zamba. They have Tool. They have 3 Days Grace. So they have acts that
Valentine.
really if I'm not mistaken, they didn't sign other than Cage the Elephant.
Right.
You know, so like I don't think that they.
So we were one of very few rock acts that were from the ground
They
up.
were trying to
Never
develop.
signed
So
anything.
once it's like, dude, why Adam Smash when you know Usher sells that in a week? Like just let's just get these guys out of our hair. But they actually, you know, it was a very peaceful,
It was very
simple,
diplomatic. They were
simple
just
thing.
Well, in a way, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always sucks if you lose your record label, but in a way, it may have been a good thing because in one sense, they were already starting to direct you in which way to take your music instead of letting you create your own.
Yeah.
We definitely wouldn't have this record right now.
No, when we got dropped, he threw a party.
Yeah, we did. We had a get dropped party.
I think we actually had a party for that, and I don't know that we had a party for getting signed.
Our old,
We kind of did something like
our
that.
other bassist Arnold.
Oh, we did throw. Well, yeah, we did throw a
He
party.
cooked a big spread for us that night. We had wine and hung out.
So this was a whole DIY effort, if you will, which is really the way music's going these days.
1000%.
Everything, and we give this guy, I mean, massive credit. He did the artwork. Him and Taco did engineering. He did the producing and like the basically the mixes and all that stuff. I mean, it was a joint effort, and he just learned how to use Pro Tools at the beginning of last year.
I was literally during this record learning how to use it.
So it was funny. It was
Wow.
it was awesome because he literally had the patience to walk through this, but he had our ears also and our tastes sort of basically being a huge pain in his butt to keep it going.
Yeah,
So
but
it was,
they guided it.
his patience is mind blowing when it comes to that stuff. So I couldn't believe, no problem. I couldn't believe it actually.
I mean, much of the album was already finished before I joined the band, but on the tracks that I did play on, I just showed up at Luke's house, plugged in his living room, and
yeah.
played the bass to the tracks, and he recorded me, and pretty much did it all yourself.
Yeah, we
And
did.
on the tracks that were done before I joined the band, he played the bass on them too.
Wow.
The garage was where we did the drums
I'm sure I drove him crazy.
and
I drove crazy.
We did the
I think
guitar
I
thing,
actually
right?
made him crazy. I think
That's where he got the nickname, right?
we did the
I
guitar.
don't know.
So you're the
Pretty
Swiss
fast.
Army knife of the band now, huh? Now, originally, you were brought in as an additional guitar player. With Z gone now, are you just going to keep it as a 4-piece, or are you talking about going out to a 5-piece with a second guitarist again?
I don't see any reason to do that for.
As long as we're in a
Well,
big
actually, we do have a deal though. If we go to Europe,
Yeah, if we
he has
play
to
in
tour
Europe,
with us.
Z yeah,
That's kind of the deal because, we're I think he deserves that, and also
It's his home.
apparently that market isn't very excited about our new record. No, we don't know that. We just the people that are going to be pushing us over there are like, we need Z for sure to play those leads and stuff that he does because that's it's big over there, that kind of thing.
Well, last question then, because I know you guys got to get set up and ready and all that good stuff, but you guys are out on the road non-stop, packed together in a van. What do you guys do to keep your sanity just bottled up like that all the time?
We don't. I mean, that's what it is.
Listening to music, debating about pointless arguments.
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
So what's the pointless argument of the day?
Today,
No, don't talk about that. But
One that comes up a lot is baseball, and then these two guys just go at it. Like,
oh, the Nolan Ryan, Greg Maddox thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Nolan Ryan guy,
Yeah.
he's a Greg Maddox guy, and apparently,
Speed versus finesse?
yeah, apparently.
and these arguments will go on for like 2 or 3 hours, and
That's an
I'm not
exaggeration.
really. No, it's not. See, here's another one. This is about to start another one. This is gonna happen, and we'll do this for a while.
Like, no, we were there for like an hour.
I feel like it's more like 2 hours.
Maybe it was like an hour and 23 minutes and like 40 seconds.
That's
So we
probably
just,
close.
this is what we do, no, I mean, we're in a minivan, we're touring in a minivan right now, we're not in a
we couldn't
bus
be any
or-
closer in this.
And we don't have a trailer. When we say we're in a minivan,
Holy shit.
we're in a minivan with our gear.
Our gear. No, but it's the coolest feeling, it really is, to like, even if the other guys that were here, I'd say right in front of their face, but it's cool to walk out in the minivan and plug up and play and still, the sound is still
Right.
there because I guess that's what a PA is for. But like, but yeah, I mean, it's just awesome to be like, to just walk out and still produce the same sound.
Or downgraded to a
somewhat-
212.
I think-
That was a 210.
Yeah, and I had an
Everything,
microphone. I used to have a bagpipe.
So, are you guys getting a good response out on this tour? I can't remember, is this the first time you've been out in the Northwest?
No,
we have been out here
before.
before. Montana.
Yeah,
This is
actually,
the farthest west I've ever been in my life.
This is actually a pretty
Yeah.
untapped resource for us, believe it or not, because we've only been out here maybe once in 2010. Didn't play Boise or
Right.
or even where we were last night.
We played Billings,
We played Billings,
and we also played Great Falls.
Great Falls. Yeah.
Well, we're excited because we're gonna, not to, take away from tonight's show because this is a pretty epic venue. The Knitting Factory is amazing. I mean,
It is. I'm excited.
We're excited to play Seattle.
Right.
I'm not really sure what it means, but I don't really know if anybody even connects with that anymore. But it is neat to to have a group like Soundgarden kind of come back this year and all that stuff. The Alice in Chains coming back a few
And
years
it's the
ago.
stage that they've played on.
Yeah, it's just need to be playing in a city and a town that has that. You know, when I grew up, it was just, I think that would have been good enough for me to just say I was able to go on tour and play in Seattle. I don't know. So
We've done a lot of
expectations get higher,
Southeast regional touring and East Coast touring. Being from Miami, it's just to get out here is
It's a big deal.
it's tough. But we
It's-
like it though. We definitely can see the response from this.
to
part of the
directly
country.
answer, this has been the best response of I think any of our touring
Mm-hmm.
ever. It's been just like.
The
We had a
consistency.
show the other night that we played in front of, there was like only 12 people there or something in Phillipsburg.
Oh,
Was
Yeah.
it even 12? It was like 12, 15 people.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a great merch night.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Ask me how,
I
but we
think
actually,
everyone that was
we
there bought
left and we're
something,
like,
at least.
bought a lot of something because we like, I mean, it was a good show. We made more merch than we would get paid that night, but that way, and there was only 12 people there. It was like, the response has been good because like well, we're not getting paid much, but the response has been really good, and I think that I think this, for some reason on this, with this lineup, we're able, yeah, definitely that's what it is. With this lineup, it seems like we're able to mess around a lot more on stage, and that's from everything. When we do jams, he'll break into some flea sounding crazy drum solo, drum and bass solo. We joke around and he kicked me right in the back yesterday. But like, I mean, there's more of, there's something, and it's not that Arnold and Z were the guys who they walk out and it's like, yeah, they're like, they bring that thunder, But something about this lineup now, the balance, it really feels like
It's kind of playful.
we're kind of for being, even when we're heavy, I kind of feel like we're sort of,
He strangled me.
yeah, it's just like hard to really take it
So
seriously.
basically, you guys just beat the shit out of each
No,
other.
for the record, me kicking Serge was inadvertent, and also.
Yeah, literally inadvertently.
And in the 8 months I've been in the band, we haven't made a lot of money so far, but there's been a great response. There hasn't been too many people at all that haven't liked us, and we've been doing a great job percentage-wise. As people that have seen us, the percentage of people that have bought the merch has been really.
The new album's gotten
He's
way
obviously
better
the
response
guy.
than I was expecting. I was expecting tons of people to be like,
What in the world?
what
are
you guys,
doing?
what were you thinking, and all this stuff. And you have some people that said that, but I say it all the time. I mean, our music and whatever the modern form of rock is, I guess it isn't for, a certain demographic of people out there that seem to be the only buyers. It should be for the kids. That's what rock has been. It's a modern phenomenon of the people between the 25 and 55 to be the actual consumer of what active rock or whatever alternative. So I think the new record was really geared towards like that, just bringing something fresh, exciting, a little different, and have a message. It hits kids.
Okay, so let's see if we can start an argument before we leave.
Okay.
I just watched Metal Evolution the other night, and the episode was about grunge and whether or not it actually counted as metal. What do you guys think? Is grunge part of the metal scene? Is it part of the hierarchy, or does it not belong in there at all?
I can say being the
He's
youngest,
probably the biggest metal fan. I mean, he's
being the youngest in the band, I have a very firm definition of what I call metal, and everything else is just rock and roll for me. So I would consider grunge rock and roll.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would agree. I was going to say that it's
Yeah,
not
I
metal.
would agree.
Damn, we didn't even get an argument.
No, actually, I'm going to bring up an argument. I would say that, I'm surprised not one other person said this though, but like, I think whatever was going on in the very late 80s wasn't metal. Like, I think that there's more of a correlation between an Alice in Chains and even, I don't want to go as far as saying a Pearl Jam, but like some of those groups, I would say there's something close. That and Motorhead are closer to each other. That and Black Sabbath are closer to each other than like basically what a lot of. Definitely can't say it now. This is not the place, but yeah, basically it's definitely like I don't think that's. I think metal is like about attitude and like. I mean, just listen to
I'm
early
that weird
Metallica
guy
and stuff.
that won't say. I don't even consider Black Sabbath metal per se.
Well, now it's like not, because if you look back
for
on
me,
all the
it's
bands
evolved.
that were
When I say
considered
I
metal,
think I think Pantera, I
Right.
think, you know, those really,
But when I was growing up, because I'm much older
Well, I
than you
agree with
guys,
that. Pantera is
Black Sabbath was metal. I mean,
Right.
Led Zeppelin was metal. Kiss was a monster metal band.
yeah,
Now
it's
they're
like,
barely more
it's
than
like
pop
the
rock.
Word, it's like the word metal has evolved since
Right.
the music got
It should
heavy.
just be the most aggressive, far out, anti everything style of music that's supposed to be out there. So I don't really think that. I think Poison was. I don't know that they were.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it metal.
I wouldn't call it. I mean, I'm not saying. I think Poison's a cool band. Nothing against them, but I don't
Or a
think
pop
that,
band.
that the Poisons and the Def Leppards of the world are like per se metal. I would say that like they're
call them hero
not
rock.
anti. They're actually very pro vagina is what they are. Like there you go. That's what they were. So I think a lot of modern music's starting to sound like that. You know, I think it's starting to
We're
actually.
definitely in the 80s of today. If that makes
The
any
late
sense.
80s of today. It's really feeling that way, and I don't think we'll ever have an impact like Nirvana or any of those groups by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that there is becoming a very noticeable difference. Even being in the band, listening to the album, and then hearing per se, you know, I don't know, just skimming through Octave, you know, for a little bit, it's just kind of like, wow. I would say that everybody should just name their band whatever producer they were working with. 'Cause-
Yeah, when I think of metal, I'm gonna bring up
including ours. So I can look back at our record and say that.
I would say
That's-
metal is more like bands like the Plain White Tees and the band Perry.
And he means metal because they play on dobros.
Very good. Serge, Luke, David, and Mark, Adam Smash from Florida here in Boise tonight. The new album, Beautiful Alien. Definitely get out the show and pick it up because you guys don't have a distribution deal yet, right?
Just digital.
Digital.
Just
Yeah,
digital.
you can get it
So,
just about anywhere online.
Yeah, anywhere.
fuck that shit. Get out to the show and see them.
That's
Couldn't have said it better myself.
and last time
But I'm glad you did.
and I have to say it was awesome because last time I did an interview with you I was in a pool and I didn't tell you this, but after I got out I didn't realize that the South Florida mosquitoes were hitting me. Like my upper body was just totally eaten up, you know. I remember going back in the house and I was like, God, what the hell did I do?
He literally gave blood for that interview.
Yeah.
All right.